I must say that when you negotiate for 2.5 years and finally get to where the parties are, that's not an ultimatum. That's a proposal that's ready to be voted up or down. And we tried to move the union to focus on it, which they're obviously unwilling or unable to do. All we do next is we put our faith and fate in the lawyers, and they'll be guaranteed years of litigation. And that's, so when someone says, what happens now, lots of paychecks keep getting missed from players, for players' families, from those who are dependent upon the NBA for their living, both in arenas and in surrounding areas. And the union decided, in its infinite wisdom, that the proposal would not be presented to the membership with a fair description, but they would do what they're doing now. Obviously, Mr. Kessler got his way, and we're about to go into the nuclear winter of the NBA. Players whose last year was this season will have their careers potentially end on this basis. And it's just a negotiating tactic. That's all that it is. That's what we alleged in front of the NLRB. This sham of magically we're taking the union and we're performing an act of magic and it will become something else and then we'll negotiate in a court settlement. It's just a big charade, and it's really irresponsible given the timing of it. It's okay to do it when you haven't lost a game, but to do it now, the union is ratcheting it up to, I guess, to see whether they can scare the NBA owners into something. That's not happening. What they've done is they've destroyed incredible value that would otherwise have gone to the union membership.
Commissioner David Stern speaking earlier on Monday as we welcome in David Aldridge, who's been on top of this throughout the NBA lockout. And the DA, there's a lot of apocalyptic talk on both sides, some fairly dire forecasts for what's about to happen next. But as you know, these guys are all lawyers. They all know what can actually happen. So I'll put it to you. The maneuver that the players engaged in on Monday, is it more of a hurdle toward a resolution or eventually a shortcut to one?
Well, I think it's a big hurdle because now you're involving lawyers. You're not only involving lawyers, you're involving judges. And judges' timelines are different from everybody else's timelines. You do not just come in and say, well, by the way, Judge, we need this done in 48 hours if that's okay with you. No, now you're on the court's time, and the court will decide how long it's going to take for this to get adjudicated. It could be soon. It could be within a month or so. It could be 2 or 3 months. Nobody is going to know until the lawsuit is filed. And that's the danger. You have now taken it out of the hands of the people who are negotiating this settlement, and you have now put it in the hands of a judge. Now, the judge may well come in as the magistrate in Minnesota did during the NFL lockout and try to get the two sides through mediation to reach a settlement, which is what Arthur Boylan eventually got the two sides to do. So there is that possibility. There is, from everything I've been told, and look, I'm not a lawyer, but this is what people who do this sort of thing tell me, is that you could, even after they filed the lawsuit, the league's lawyers could approach David Boies and Jeffrey Kessler and say, hey, look, let's try to settle this. Let's try to get a deal. So it's possible. Now, is that likely? Probably not right now, but that's where we have it now. It's not a matter of sitting down across from one another in a conference room. It's a matter of listening to a judge, and the judge will decide what the work rules are going to be, and one or both sides is going to have to just take it.
Well, gee, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. There is an opportunity now because the players' hope for all this is that they've leveled the playing field here a little bit and maybe created an opportunity for negotiation through back channels. Stan, as someone who's been through these situations before, do you anticipate the owners would be more willing to negotiate?
Well, if we look at the recent history of collective bargaining in the NFL and even before that, the NHL, the signs are ominous. At this stage in the NHL, the offers started getting worse, and once the season was lost, the players lost everything, and they had to sign in July for a much worse deal than they ever could have had. The NFL, what has always puzzled me about pursuing this strategy is it's a strategy the NFLPA pursued and didn't win with. They lost. Right. And so to say, let's follow that path is curious for me. There's a lot at stake for the players. The the owners have said they're going to challenge the validity of guaranteed contracts. That's a lot of money. And so all those players who last summer, like LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, who thought they got $100 million contracts, if this goes beyond January and the season's lost, they may not have gotten anything at all.
And you've heard both sides basically saying that they anticipated this move coming years ago, essentially, and there are preemptive law strikes that were filed months before anticipating this sort of deal. 3D, from a player's point of view, where is their collective attitude right now? We saw them all standing there in a show of solidarity with Derek Fisher and Billy Hunter. But these guys, they're not lawyers. They know what they've been advised. They know what the deal is. Where are their heads at right now?
Well, they're actually confused right now because so much is being given them. The older players have a better understanding what's going on because they've been through this, some of the older guys from 98, 99. But I think that the younger guys don't have a clue. They're just following the lead from the older guys. So with that being said, I think the veterans have to get to these rookies and explain to them what's really at hand, that you may, at the end of the day, take a deal you don't really want. So the John Walls, the Blake Griffins, these real young guys, educate them on what the business of this NBA is all about. So when next time around, you can have this tactic, but do it from day one so the owners know you're very serious.
And think about the rookies, in particular, the guys who came out of school early right now to join the NBA, who are waiting and waiting and waiting and wondering what the heck is happening around me. When am I going to get to play basketball for a living?